Hey everybody, come join us here at The Experience this Wednesday, September 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a big show because Rex is going to be here with John and Robbie and AR Comics. I might pop in if I feel like it, but it's going to be a big show because they are giving away this red Sonia trading card set and it's valued at $1,200. And they're giving it away. What are they, nuts? How do they talk Nick into that? Anyway, it's going to be big. All the classic stuff is going to be here, the CGC, CZAs, and more. So remember, September 7th, it's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on The Experience. Can't wait to see you then.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to the return of Rockin Robbie Live. Station Pop Pop Boom. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Bills. How is everybody doing on this Sunday night? This was a fantastic weekend, to be honest with you, because we launched Horror Fest. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the start of the college football season, and my Auburn Tigers won their first game. So it's been a pretty solid weekend. And of course, Rockin Robbie Live is back. How is everybody doing? Super excited to be here. We got a great show planned for everybody tonight, including looking back at our favorite comic books from last week, which was a small, paltry comic book week, and then looking ahead at what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. We'll be going along with our John Carpenter chronological movie rewatch with Elvis tonight, starring Kurt Russell. In fact, the first time they worked together. We'll be doing Image in the 90s with a Youngblood number 5. Then we're going to be talking about top 5 movies of 2014. We're also going to be picking the movies for the 2022 PCP Army Horror Fest movie poll. So you don't want to miss that. That's going to be later in the show. A little bit of that and more. We got a great time planned for you today, but even though we have a grand plan, some may call it, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So once you get in here, throw out a station, throw out a pop, boom, all up in the room. Let us know that you're here. What do you want to chat about? Let's get the conversation going. I will say you can find podcasts and even more over at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow us over at Facebook and on Instagram. And if you're on Facebook, follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. But also join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. And you can help support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Or with Super Chat, which always triggers some fun. And all the support is appreciated, but all we need is a good like, a share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and just participate in the conversation. How's everybody doing? I have been doing shows, a little bit here and there since we've been doing the She-Hulk show. I've been doing the show on Fridays with Rex, but it just feels like I haven't been here for a while. So I'm excited to be back for a full-on Rockin Robbie live. What we got coming up here on the YouTube channel, let me tell you. We are already in the midst of Horror Fest. It started last night with a look at Life Force over at Dylan's Horror Show. But tomorrow night it continues over at PCP Movie Night. Oh, man, I'm so excited for this. At 8 p.m. Central Time, join us in a great panel as we talk about the entire Scream franchise. We're going to be talking about all 5 Scream movies. That's tomorrow night. And then Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, join us for our review and discussion on She-Hulk. It will be episode 4. We haven't gotten that thumbnail yet, but once we get it, we'll start sharing it around. But our She-Hulk review show has been more fun to me than watching She-Hulk. And then, of course, Horror Fest continues Saturday night on Dylan's Horror Show with American Mary by the Soska sisters, starring Catherine Isabel. I have not seen this movie, so I am rather excited to check it out. So let's see who is all up in here. We got GT Key Comic in the house. We got Billy Power Max in the house. What is up, everybody? The artist formerly known as Jesse Say What says station to people all over the world. That one Eric is in the house. Ouroboros Snake is in the house. Two Gun Pedro, pew pew, what is up, my man? We got Mars Comics in the house. We got Mark Talks Comics. What is up, Mark? We got James in the house. Circumstances, my man. Taki's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Pop, pop, boom yourself. Comics by the Bay is not in the way. Thank you for being here today. Rogue Collecting in the house. Hell yeah. Look at all these fine people here. Scarpads Comic Tracks. That's right. Scarpads Comic Tracks. One of the panelists over at Dylan's Horror Show. Had a great discussion last night on Life Force. Looking forward to continuing on great Horror Fest content this week with the Scream franchise review tomorrow night. And then, of course, like I said, American Mary on Saturday night. And it's just keeps getting better from there, y'all. It's dope. We got Big Herm in the house. What is up, my man? Big Herm? Evil Face Bad is up in the place. Comics by the Bay says, go Gators. All right, all right. We'll allow it on the first week of the season. Our Ariaga is in the house. Station Gentle People of the Internet. CTA Frank. OUG is up in the house. Moni's up in the house. Sleepy Reader 666 is in the house. Station Damien, how you doing? CTA Frank says She-Hulk's not a good show. I wouldn't say it's a good show either. I wouldn't say it's a bad show yet, but it leans that way. I'm just gonna say that. David says, I know you're a big Brubaker fan. I'm wondering if you've ever seen Too Old to Die Young is probably my favorite series ever, and Brubaker wrote it with Nicholas Winding Refn. No, not familiar with that at all. Thanks for pointing that out. We'll definitely have to check that out. Any update on the CBCS scandal? Maybe, William, but I don't know of it. Hey, Sam, what is up, buddy? And we got Brother Sam, and we got Sam Vetrano 2. Mark is in the house. What is up? Welcome back to Sunday Nights. That's right. That's right. All right. How is everybody doing? Evil Face Bad says, Robbie, you watch Rings of Power. Thoughts? I actually just watched Rings of Power today, this afternoon. Because I thought that somebody would ask me tonight what I thought about it, because I didn't realize that it had popped up, and then I don't know where. I guess yesterday somebody was mentioning it. I was like, oh yeah, I guess they got 2 episodes out. So I watched it, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers or anything. Now, first of all, I'll just go ahead and preface this by saying I have only, as far as Tolkien goes, only have ever read The Hobbit. It's the only book I've ever read is The Hobbit. I haven't read the Lord of the Rings stuff or the Appendices or the Silmarillion or anything like that. I haven't read those. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. like the extended cuts in particular. I love those movies. So I was excited to see what they would do. There was a lot of bad chatter beforehand, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. And I just kind of sat down and I watched it, and I thought it was all right. Like, I thought it looked great. It was beautiful. It had some cool stuff, but there were moments that were kind of boring to me, right? Like, honestly, I fell asleep in the second episode for like 2 minutes. It wasn't long, and I went back and rewound. But I don't really fall asleep during shows anymore, especially not in the afternoon. But Rings of Power to me has potential, but it was rather slow. And not that that's a problem, but it didn't really do anything super exciting. You got all these kind of different things. They don't really feel connected yet, and that's okay. They don't have to. Galadriel is all right. She is played by the lady that was in Saint Maud, right? And I thought that was pretty cool. So it's okay, but it's not completely compelling to me right now. It feels very kind of disconnected and bleak. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's 2 episodes, each episode over an hour. And it was kind of dull and boring in times, but there was parts that were intriguing. It looks beautiful. All that stuff looks great. The performances are fine, but there's just nothing compelling being written yet for me to really bring me in. Meaning, well, there's nothing with the characters, and there's nothing about the adventure yet that's kind of like getting me pulled in. So, I mean, I thought it was aight. Like, I guess I'd give the 2 episodes kind of, I guess, like a 3 you digs out of 5. It was okay. It was all right. If you guys have been anybody that watched Rings of Power, let us know in non-spoilery ways what you thought about it. Let's see who else is in the house right now. Two Gun says, American Mary is no ginger snaps. I really like ginger snaps, but I'm excited to see American Mary. I haven't seen it. My plan is to watch it Tuesday evening, I believe. David says, 20th Century Men does indeed kick ass. Thanks for the recommend. Somehow wasn't on my radar. Well, David, man, I'm super excited that I was able to lead you to that book. I think that book is exceptional. I think it's amazing. Dennis Camp and S. Morian and Aditya Bidikar are doing phenomenally on that one. I've read the 2nd issue, and I love that just as much. So I think we're all in for a treat, and it's not going to be a book for everybody, but it is definitely a book that warrants repeated readings. Same thing with a lot of other Dennis Camp work, I would say, including Agent of World. We'll be talking about that momentarily. Big Herm says, I'm loving She-Hulk, and the twerking was hilarious. People need to get a grip. Well, some people need to get a grip, but some people need to get a grip about telling people to get a grip. Not saying that's you, Herm, not at all. But you can think that She-Hulk twerking is stupid, and it's okay. And you can think that it's awesome and fun, and that's okay. Me personally, I thought it was stupid. I thought it's just cheesy to me, man. It was just so cheesy, but I don't know. It's fine for what it is, for what it do. I don't think it's like the downfall of civilization or the MCU like people are saying. Jesus. All of a sudden we're going to start seeing reports like Todd McFarlane's taking over the MCU from Kevin Feige due to She-Hulk twerking. You just wait. Somebody's going to make that video. I should do like a parody YouTube channel where like I create a character and I play this doom and gloom, angry kind of fucking comic book nerd character and just make shit up. And I bet I would get... So the problem is I would get so many views on that shit and I would wind up being misleading people with misinformation. Don't want to do that. The only misinformation I want to spread around are my opinions. Hey, we got Bob in the house from Everything Comics Station. Bob, how are you doing, brother? Good to hear from you. Will next week be a better comics week? I will tell you this, Damien. This upcoming week, DC at least I think's got us covered a little bit. I had some really solid reads from DC this week. I haven't really even looked at the list yet. I still haven't even gotten it set up to do our little bit later. But yeah, we'll definitely be going over what's coming up in comic shops this week. But the DC books were appealing to me. I really liked it. So excuse me, I'm a little gassy. David says that twerking scene seems calculated to outrage people. I'm not sure what the creators anticipated the response was going to be. Megan Thee Stallion isn't big amongst comic fans, no. I didn't know who Megan Thee Stallion was, but that's just because I've been out of touch with popular music since like 2007, 2008, something like that probably, right? So, was she active then? Wouldn't that be a kick in the fucking face? So I don't really know. But what the hell was I going to say? Oh, but the responses are ridiculous. Some people are being like, oh man, if you don't like the fucking twerking scene, then you're an incel. And if you don't like it, then you don't like displays of sexual power by women of color. And I'm like, that seems really crazy. Maybe somebody just thinks it's kind of cheesy. A little like it dates the show a little bit, something like that. All that other stuff, like more, no, not at all, right? There's some weird responses on all sides to the She-Hulk twerking thing. My favorite, though, and somebody said this fucking Thursday night, and it's since become a meme, but they were like, if she can get that thunderclap and the twerking to work together and get that ass clap, shit's done, you know? What? It's over. But I think it's silly, but it's not something like, I don't really bother. It doesn't bother me as much as I guess it does other people. Circumstances says, Lord of the Rings was boring to me, so this makes sense. Okay. So wait, are you saying Lord of the Rings was boring, so Rings of Power makes sense to you? Is that what you're saying? I need a clarification there, brother. Mark says, watch Too Old to Die Young. Very interesting. Makes the long takes / pauses in Twin Peaks seem fast-paced by comparison. I'm doing a rewatch of Twin Peaks right now. I'm like 6 episodes in, I think, right now on season 1. I'm rewatching the original so I can finally watch the return for the first time. Our Ariaga says, 3 digs for Rings of Power. Not great, not bad either. Bob says, I wanted to hate it. I really don't like what they're doing with Galadriel and Elrond, but overall, I had a hard time hating it. It's actually not bad, in my honest opinion. Nice. That swim she took was beyond stupid. I agree. I was just like, what, are we going to get a whole episode of her out in the fucking ocean? Yeah. Yeah, we fucking are. What you drinking now? I'm drinking a Cheatin' Heart IPA. It's from Yellowhammer Brewery, which is here in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's Cheatin' Heart IPA. They were out of the AOK, which has been my norm, but Cheatin' Heart's not too bad. Local. The Bob High Fantasy seal of approval. Now I'm interested. I think that Rings of Power could develop into something interesting. Like I definitely would probably watch episode 3, but watching 2 at a time that was too much for me, man. There were moments where it was really dull for me. Like, I don't know, man. There's some, like, I don't want to get too much into it. And I don't know, Galadriel, I'm up and down on Galadriel. There's a way that she's written that's kind of obnoxious. Scarpad says, have to finish The Boys, then we'll probably start Rings of Power. I loved The Boys Season 3. I fucking loved it. Give me more Boys right now. Mike06 in the house station, buddy. How you doing? David says, if Spawn twerks in the next Spawn movie, then that would be a true sign of the end times. Well, if it's Jamie Foxx, though, I'd probably forgive it. But it might be the 6th seal. Not the 7th, but at least the 6th. Evil Face Bad says, the production value on Rings of Power is fantastic. I felt I was back in Middle-earth for a bit, but yes, the story needs to pick up. It just needs to, and I don't think everything needs to be like boom, 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 boom. So when I say it needs to pick up some pace, I don't mean it needs to go boom, 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 boom. It just needs to like get more exciting. Like in the original Lord of the Rings movies, we had the setup, and it was epic. And then in this, you're right, the production value was amazing. I think Dylan was saying in the chat today that it's the most expensive, like, television program, because that bothered Rex when I was talking about television. He's like, we can't consider things, that's only network. I'm like, wait, Anyway, but one of the most expensive, short form TV small screen productions out there. But it looks great. It did. There were some moments. There's some moments in in episode 2 that I thought were a little bit wonky CG wise. Just a couple little brief moments, and that's nitpicking some shit. But for the most part, I thought it was fun. There's certain characters though that I still just don't give a shit about. And we really don't know what the fuck's going on. 2 episodes and it's just like an evil could be coming. Could be. Oh, UG says, do it. Just put in your channel description that you are a satire channel. Yeah, I'll do the Colbert Show of comics YouTube. Bob says, I don't know why people are throwing shade on She-Hulk. I'm enjoying it. I thought this last episode was Maslany's best episode yet. Yeah, I thought it was the best episode yet, period. I thought the story was a little bit better. Now, I know Bob had some issues with the Wrecking Crew, and honestly did it first. And like I said on Thursday night, like, at first I was kind of pissed, then I realized, like, bro, what am I expecting them to do with the Wrecking Crew? But the way they were, like, geared up, like they were fucking Power Ranger villains or some shit, man. I was like, they were like Cobra Kai extras, like fucking ready for their scene, man. Like, I don't know, man. Something about it really fucking worked. Jonathan says, hey, Robbie, did you get Fantastic Four Full Circle slipcase? No. I have the regular one on the way. I had to get it through another distributor. The slipcases were allocated, so we didn't get all that we ordered. And so me being a good manager and a good friend, I opted to, of course I could have got my copy, but I opted to let it slide to somebody else so that they could be happy. And I'll get the regular one, which should be on its way to the store now. But it does kind of bum me out. So thanks for bringing that up, Jonathan. No, we really know. But I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm really eager to get into it. So I'm not going to get the slipcase, and that kind of bums me out, but it's okay. I'm still going to get the regular one, and it's going to save me like $15 or something, so. Evil Face Bad says, I got like 3 books this week. That's kind of whack, though. A real light week on the pull list. Yeah, it is whack sometimes to get a light week, but honestly, I think this was a good placement for a light week. Gave everybody a little bit more time to get ready for Horror Fest. No, I appreciate a light week. And honestly, I wasn't super digging on much, but Agent of World held me over enough. I'll tell you that. And I actually did like Thunderbolts #1. But I think I was needing a light week. And now I'm ready to go again. Da-dum-bum. Taki says, Meg the Stallion is raw. Rockin Robbie, check her out. I might have to check her out. We'll see. I just felt so embarrassed when I became a Weekend fan a year or 2 ago. And so, like, I don't want to be that guy all of a sudden be like, oh, bro, y'all ever heard of Megan the Stallion? She was in this show, She-Hulk. Are you having a damn fine coffee while watching Twin Peaks? No, I'm usually having some artificially sweetened sweet tea. It's usually my drink of choice. That or some LaCroix. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Dwayne's Pain says, it's not out of place. It's meant to be more a comedic show, and it was an after-credit scene. I understand all of that. Like I said, I'm not someone that's like, I thought it was a little dumb, but I understand that this show is a comedy. It's starting to try to work some of its kinks out. It was an after-credit scene. I don't, like I'm saying, I'm not ringing the death knell of the fucking MCU because of the twerking scene. But, I just thought it was a little silly, yeah, but it's okay. Not every joke lands for me. Bob says, it feels so weird not to have bought a single comic in over a month now. Yeah, that feels weird to me too, brother. Way to keep the industry alive, Bob. I'm just kidding. Headline, She-Hulk's do badonkadonk outrages incels. Saw a double feature of Inland Empire and Lost Highway last weekend at a local cinema. Was wild. Hell yeah, that's really cool. The director of Drive did Too Old to Die Young. Okay. Those Megan Thee Stallion references are going to terribly date She-Hulk for anyone who views it in the years to come. Possibly, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I don't think they make this content for people to watch years to come anymore. I don't know. It's all in the moment, all in the now. Her in the ocean, we're back to Rings of Power. Her in the ocean was creepy to me. I hate open water. It scares the crap out of me. You don't know what's in the water around you. I understand the effect of it. I was just like, damn. Like, I don't know. I was just like, it's a thing that to take the character off the board for an episode. That's basically what it is to me. But I don't know. Kid Cloud Kicker says she has one emotion, cardboard face. Her character is boring. David says, what's the response been on Gambit number 1? I got it on a whim. Not sure I like the way they stylized Gambit's accent. I know he has an accent, but actual text representation seemed awkward. That's just Chris Claremont, right? He likes to do all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. Sales on 2. I mean, like most books, sales on 2 drop from issue number 1. You know, and a lot of people grab issue number 1. They don't come back for number 2s, and then it keeps dropping. Then it levels out around 4 or 5 or 6, right? If it makes it that far. But response has been from some people that it was okay, and then from other people that it sucked. I thought it was okay. But I wasn't expecting too much out of it. That being said, I didn't read issue 2. The elf-human love dynamic is cool. Good. I do like also just kind of learning more about like the past of this world. So my favorite moments have been like the fucking opening of the show, like the stuff like where they were explaining everything that happened and stuff. I was like digging that. Like chick's kid can't fucking stand. Like I'm gonna have to call a Jelani on that one and be like, yeah, man, this kid sucks. Get him out of there. I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but it's boring to me. The elf dude, there's like this love thing going on. Like that's interesting, but nothing's been done with it yet. Like I don't know. There's still a lot to flesh out. Production budget is $150 million per season. Jesus. That's fucking ridiculous. Triple B, what's up? Just finished The Boys season 1, late to the show, but it was already Starlight. It's hot. Yeah, Starlight is hot. I'll agree there. Airwolf was the most expensive TV show ever created. Every episode cost $1 million. At the time, man, I can imagine that. I hope they spent a good chunk of that on that sound. I mean, on the sound. On the theme song, because the theme song is one of my favorites. Dun, 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 dun. I totally missed Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan based on negative reception. Should I give them a chance? I didn't watch Book of Boba Fett. I haven't watched that one still. But Obi-Wan, I half liked and half didn't. So overall, I enjoyed watching Obi-Wan. There were some things I really liked about Obi-Wan that I thought were really cool. But other things that were just kind of for me. Very uneven. In Rings of Power, nobody was hitting that pipe weed, though. Anybody notice that? Nobody was smoking that old Toby. No, you're right. They did, Bob. I'm telling you, man. They were like the extras in Cobra Kai, ready to fucking have their one fucking shot. Jonathan's getting the regular one, too. Hell yeah. Big Herm just wants the FF novel. Doesn't need the slipcase. Evil Face Bad says Megan Thee Stallion is okay, but no Batman. Brother Sam says the Scorched is going to twerk with Gunslinger in the next issue. Ooh, nice. David says, full disclosure, I haven't even caught any of the She-Hulk nor Thor Love and Thunder. Is the whimsical, jokey vibe of these movies remotely close to what the comics have been historically? She-Hulk's close to certain runs. The Dan Slott run and the John Byrne run. Our favorite thing we like to say on our She-Hulk show is John Byrne did it better. But I think that he did that better more than most who have worked on that character. So I don't know. With the Thor, it doesn't match the vibe of the comic, and I don't think it's matched the vibe of a Thor comic since Ragnarok. And I do enjoy Ragnarok, and there are elements and things I liked about Love and Thunder, but for the most part, I didn't really like it. It was forced. It was like, it really, a lot of those jokes did not land at all for me. She-Hulk has been, like, episode 1, I think I gave 3.5, but all of us retroactively after episode 2 dropped our episode 1's scores on average about half of a point. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, that was an actual phenomena that happened. But so I, like, 1, I'd give like a 3-ish. 2, I gave a 2.5. And this latest one, I gave like a 3. So it's okay. Kit's waiting on House of the Dragon. Me too. That's tonight, right? But I'm loving that show so far. 2 episodes in, I was making fun of everybody. I was like, all these people that hated the Game of Thrones at the end, all of a sudden they're all hyped to watch it again. And, I was like, man, let me check it out, 2 episodes in, really liking it a lot. One of my favorite shows I'm watching ongoing right now, of which I'm doing She-Hulk, now Rings of Power, and House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon takes fucking cake, and that's easy. How in the world is anyone upset about 2 beautiful women vibrating their butts? The world is upside down. For me, it's about the place. I just think it's silly. Like, the twerky thing to me is like a dated reference to me. That's why I was like, that's stupid. Do I have a problem with it? No. Is the wizard Gandalf or not? We're not going into spoilers, but I don't think so. Hey, and we got a super chat from Taki. Thank you so much for the support. Rockin Robbie gave solid advice about collecting on Saturday. Well, thank you for that. I really do appreciate the super chat and the comment. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I had been wanting to put that video together for a few weeks, and just one day I was like, fuck it, man, let's just, because I was going to do graphics and shit, I was like, fuck it, man, I just didn't have the time. I was like, let's just put the camera on and go. And it's not like a new series I'm planning on or anything, but it seemed like most of the response was solid to that video, so I might try to do more things like into that, where I'm just like giving advice or just talking about my history as a collector and certain little things here and there. There were some questions that were posed in the comments, like how can you read so much, and and other things like that, right? So, like, I don't know, maybe I'll answer some of those in future videos or something. If that's something y'all would like to see, if you watch the video, if you know the video we're talking about, it was 10 simple rules for enjoying comics. And it was basically just things I've learned as a collector to do to stay fresh in my enjoyment in this hobby, in this love, in this life that we call comics. So thank you for that, Taki. I really do appreciate that. Brandon is in the house. Did anyone read Heart Eyes from last month? Feels like it's flying under the radar, but so far, awesome. I liked it. I thought it was good. It hasn't completely won me over, but I really do like the art. So the art's working for me. The story's intriguing enough. Definitely coming back for more. If you could pick someone to reboot the Wonder Woman comic, who would you choose? I would choose Joe Corallo, and I would confer with him on which artist he would like. But I would love to put Dan Mora on a Wonder Woman book with Joe Corallo. William says, Wheezy and Walt Simonson, that could be cool. Walt wrote Wonder Woman for at least 6 issues, I remember. Jerry Ordway did the artwork. It was right before the Greg Rucka run. It was an okay run. She cut her hair short or some shit. The kid does suck. Oh, they won't show his ears, eh? Who's the boy's real daddy then? Eh? 27 minutes till Game of Thrones. Probably going to lose some of the viewership. That's okay. Y'all can always catch us on the replay. I'll be watching as soon as I'm done. Bob from Everything Comics says, David, I would for sure watch the last 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. It's essential if you're watching The Mandalorian, so I definitely have to watch that. Chris is in the house. What is up, Chris? Chris says, I was hitting that pipe weed for sure. Mike says, haven't watched Rings of Power yet, but hopefully it's better written than new Star Trek. Visually, new Trek looks amazing, but the writing is mostly shit. Fair enough. Comic book therapy in the house. Just when I thought Gamora was the only green woman I would have a shag with, along comes She-Hulk. Evil Face Bad says, I'm not turning Robbie off for Game of Thrones, though I ain't no sellout. Well, thank you for that. Hey, Brian's in the house. Good evening. Came in and smashed that like button. We really do appreciate that. David says, I have a weed-fueled theory. Marvel will get Miles Teller back as Mr. Fantastic and make it a multiverse story. Call it 4. And it's also Raimi's 4th Spidey film and 4th Holland Spidey film. Interesting. Ouroboros snake is sold. Frank and Frog, I am a Garbage Pail Kids fan. I had a bunch of those cards randomly when I was a kid, and some friends had more, and I don't have anything nowadays, but I am a fan of Garbage Pail Kids, and I'm really liking the new book that Dynamite is doing right now. All right, y'all. We're like over 30 minutes into the show. We haven't even done the first 5 yet, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. That was completely the wrong fucking button. It's time for the first 5. First 5. So we're going through the Blu-ray collection. We are nearing the end of this journey, and we had done this once before, and this time it feels like it took longer. And now there's even more movies in the collection that we'll probably do it again at some point. However, going through the Blu-ray collection, we're in the W's. There is The Ward. This is the last and final feature-length film directed by John Carpenter. I only ever saw it one time when it first came out. I remember not liking it. It's got Amber Heard in it, so I can't really imagine I'll like it even more this upcoming time we watch it, but maybe I do. There's my copy of Watchmen. I got the director's cut with that lenticular slip, baby. Yeah. Love this movie. I actually really like this movie. I know some people got some issues with it. I mean, I can pick some things apart about it, and I can watch it with Zack Snyder, so. Maximum movie mode. What the fuck? Okay. Anyway, then we got Way of the Gun. Love this movie. This is a recent pickup for me because I was talking about it, and I was like, nobody knows about this movie, so I picked it up because I want to revisit it. I love this movie. It's a neo-Western, if you will, right? But it's one of my favorites. Like, Western set in modern times, like No Country for Old Men and this, for me, are like the two best, right? Absolutely love this fucking movie. We'll definitely be spotlighting this on PCP Movie Night at some point next year. Here is my Arrow release of Weird Science. I have the Steelbook edition right there. Love the Steelbook edition. We covered this on PCP Movie Night earlier this year. And another thing we've covered recently on PCP Movie Night is Westworld. We did this last year, actually. But this is written and directed by Michael Crichton. And we all know Westworld as the HBO show now, but this was its original origins, was this movie with Yul Brynner. So that has been your first 5. All right. What's wrong, Robbie? No love for Ray Harryhausen films? No, I used to watch those a lot when I was a kid. Clash of the Titans, Jason the Argonauts, all that shit. I don't own any of those, though. No, I don't. I never have, actually. That would be fun. Evil Face Bad says, I like Strange New Worlds, Star Trek. It's not the best, but it's good. I hear that's good. I haven't gotten to it yet. Brandon says, my other favorite thing last month was the Dragon Ball superhero movie. Excellent, big, dumb fun. Gigantic moronic splendor, in other words. Daniel says, have you shared your thoughts on Nope? I thought it was great, with Peele only getting better and following the path people like Tarantino and Nolan when it comes to making original movies. I did a Nope review after I watched it. It was on Rockin Robbie Live. So if we could just find the date for that, maybe I should start pulling more of those movie reviews out. Anyway, I thought it was, I was disappointed. I love Get Out and Us. We're actually covering both Get Out and Us this year for Horror Fest. So I was really, really looking forward to Nope. And I liked it, but it didn't quite sell me. Now, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, which I think is a good score for a movie that means I liked it. But I say it's a disappointment because for me, Get Out and Us are 5 you dig movies. So it didn't, I feel like the thematics and the story, like the subtext in the story there wasn't a good connective tissue there for me. But I am anticipating it being something I like more the more I watch it. So it was mesmerizing in parts. It was really effective in parts. But at the end of the day, I found it hard to connect with the main character because he had this very low-key, like understated, stoic performance. And I get what was going on there, but it was hard to make a connection there. And some elements, as interesting as they were, felt so irrelevant and disconnected to the actual story and only there to connect in a thematic subtextual way that, I don't know. It just didn't quite work for me on the level of Get Out or Us. So for me, it was a disappointing 3.5 because I was expecting more, but it is definitely something I'll buy when it comes out. Is it already out? I think it's on digital. And, so it'll be part of my collection, and I will revisit it. Thank you, Billy. Brandon says, Nope was outstanding, and the subtext with Gordy was fantastic. Hell yeah. Have you seen Parallels? It's a multiverse movie I randomly came across, and I thought it was decent. No, I have not seen that one. Hey, Jeff. And we got a Hammer Time host you in the house. Station Hammer Time. How you doing, buddy? I hope you're ready for tomorrow night's awesome show. We gonna have fun. We gonna have fun. All right, it's time to look back to last week. What was your favorite comic book that came out last week? In a very small week, what was your pick of the week? My pick of the week was Agent of World #2, and this was an easy pick of the week. However, this probably would have been a pick of the week even against a bunch of competition because I'm not even being hyperbolic when I'm saying this. To me, this might be my favorite single issue of this year so far. Now, I first read this last year, believe it or not, when it was originally going to come out as Chaos Agent. And I've actually read issue 3, and issue 3 is another wild, bonkers, structurally interesting story. But Agent of the World, holy cow, each issue a self-contained story, but filled with crazy sci-fi concepts, high concepts, and amazingly detailed, rich, and beautiful artwork from Philia Bratutkin. This cat's artwork is absolutely astonishing. And it's not just the intricate detail and the line work. It's not just the Mobius-esque labor that he's doing. It's also these layouts. It's these sweeping city shots moving in and seeing all the dense clutter, but also just the composition on certain pages, the way the story flows. And of course, the writer, Dennis Camp, puts in so many crazy ideas, but at the core of this, especially in issue #2, it is a very much a story about responsibility. And it's a story about loss, handling that loss, becoming a different person, and oh my goodness, the book hit so many levels for me. I absolutely loved it. So on an artistic level, it is top-notch. On a story level, it is top-notch. I've read issue 3. I haven't read issue 4 yet, which is the conclusion of this arc. They do plan on bringing it back, and please do. Philia Bratutkin was on everybody's lips when I was at Heroes Con. This is an artist that will be remembered, that is going to be coming up in the next few years. This is where it starts. Everybody already has been hyped up on some of his Batman covers, but check out the way he's doing this story. In this one, our main character, who is an agent of this organization called World, there's this super secret spy organization that gets their hands dirty when they need to. One of their best agents has a secret double life that they don't know about. He has a family. He shouldn't have a family. And in this one, he has to team up with a former agent who was a sleeper agent who had to go through extreme measures to distance himself from his former sleeper agent life And man, it gets crazy. And then there's all this kooky, high-concept, sci-fi, weird, absurd, random shit thrown in. I fucking love it. They don't make books like this on a regular basis, and when they do, I pay the fuck attention, and I loved it. So if you read Agent of World #2, I want to know, what did you think about it? But outside of that, what was your favorite comic book last week? What was your pick of the week? All right. Let's see what everybody's saying here. Chris says, loving Agent of World. Hell yeah, man. I was hoping you would. Issue 3, I think you'll really like, too. It's a good one. David says, Mobius vibes on that art. Kind of wow. Yeah. When we were at Heroes Con, Brian, my homie Brian, who does a lot of the creator interviews with us, he bought the original cover to Agent of World #3, and it's drawn on a piece of paper like this fucking size, y'all. It is not drawn big, and it has all this detail. It blows my mind, that artwork. And it was really a privilege to be able to see the original artwork. I could not believe that it was drawn on such a small size, not much bigger than the cover. I could not fucking believe it. BJ says, my pick of the week was None, followed by Week as well. Okay. Taylor says, loved the art of World, but hated the writing. Felt the same way about 20th Century Men. Dennis Camp's writing style isn't for me. Fair enough, Taylor. Not going to be for everybody. David says, geez, this looks awesome. Limited series. Yeah, 4 issues, but Dennis says they hope to bring it back. And it seems to be doing well for them. It does really well at my shop. Of course, I sell the shit out of it. I really do. People come in, I want to make sure you leave with a copy of Agent of World. And if anybody can't find an issue #1, we still got them. You did not, Billy. Evil Face Bat says, I finally got my hands on Samurai Doggy. Thanks, Robbie. I fucking loved it. Great story. It's really brutal how they kill his mother and try to kill him. Liked the art, too. Yeah, I loved it. Samurai Doggy really came out of nowhere and surprised me. Brandon says, I slept on that one. At pre-order time, I went with 20th Century Men instead of World. I should have just gotten them both. Well, I think so. Especially if you like 20th Century Men. Chris says, my pick of the week is probably that Alex Ross Fantastic Four. I cannot wait to get a copy and be able to read it. Mark says, Nottingham, Dogs of London, and will be checking out Agent of World. Ouroboros said, loved Action Comics, but wanted more now that everyone's said. I am glad that the whole War World thing is over. It went a bit too long for me, I think. Evil Face Bad says, Samurai Doggy is a taste of Yojimbo, too. I love me some Yojimbo. That bunny kill you quickly. Hell yeah, he does. Mars Comics says, pick of the week was Nottingham for me, but that's really all I read. Taki says Iron Fist #5. And David says, bought and read The Long Halloween for the first time this week. Does that count? Yeah, it counts, sure. Did you like it? I like Long Halloween. We did a Comics Revisited on that one. It was really, really fun. So now let's take a look at what's coming up in shops this week. We got Batman 127. We got Moon Knight #15. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths #4. Wolverine #24. Immortal X-Men #6. New Mutants 29. Flashpoint Beyond #5. She-Hulk #6. Ghost Rider #6, Punisher #6, Spawn 333, we're halfway to 666, Star Wars 27, Poison Ivy #4, Marauders #6, Axe, Death to the Mutants #2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 132, Batman Beyond Neo Year #6, New Fantastic Four #4, Once and Future 29, Black Panther #9, Twig #5, Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #4, Walking Dead Deluxe 46, Alien #1, New Champion of Shazam #2, Sword of Azrael #2, Batman Dear Detective #1, Dark Knights of Steel, Tales from Three Kingdoms #1, Spider-Man 2099 Exodus Omega #1, Basilisk #11, All Out Avengers #1, Time Before Time 16, Image #5, Multiversity, Teen Justice #4, Sweet Paprika #12, the final issue, Nubia, Queen of the Amazons #4, The Dead Lucky #2, A Town Called Terror #6, Starhenge, Book 1, The Dragon and the Boar, number 3, Magic the Gathering, number 18, Shock Shop, number 1, that's from Dark Horse Comics, X-Men and Moon Girl, number 1, Black Adam, The Justice Society Files, Atom Smasher, Batman Night Watch, it's an all-ages book. I did not read that, so don't expect a review when we get back with the DC sneak peek. 007, number 2, Golden Rage, number 2, Prodigy, The Icarus Society, number 3, Survival Street, number 2, Blade Runner, Black Lotus, number 2, Black Lotus, my bad. Cyberpunk 2077, Blackout, number 4, The Ward, number 4, Metal Society, number 5, Mind Management Bootleg, number 3, Star Trek 400, Vineyard, number 2, Antioch, number 1, Phantasmagoria, number 1, Star Trek The Mirror War, Troy, number 1, Evil Ernie Facsimile Edition of number 1 from Dynamite. That's cool. I got to check that out. Vanity, number 2. Space Riders Vortex of Darkness, number 4. Boogeyman, number 1. Avatar Adapt or Die, number 5. Erratic Recharged, number 1. The Ninjets, number 1. Until My Knuckles Bleed, One Deadly Shot, number 1. Street Fighter Masters Chun-Li, number 1. Last Line, number 1. Endangered, number 3. Artist Elite Presents, number 2. Transformers Best of Bumblebee, Fearless Dawn, number 1, Kingdom Come Deliverance, number 2, big week. They're making up for last week, y'all. They really are. Well, let's just call it there. What else is there? Yeah, I don't see anything else that I know, that I recognize. Anyway, that's what's coming up. What are you excited to check out? Let us know. We're about to take a quick break, but when we come back, the DC Sneak Peek, we'll be talking about Elvis and Image in the 90s on Rockin' Robbie Live.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I won't get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
everybody, come join us here at the Experience this Wednesday, September 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a big show because Rex is going to be here with John and Robbie and AR Comics. I might pop in if I feel like it, but it's going to be a big show because they are giving away this red Sonya trading card set, and it's valued at $1,200. And they're giving it away. What are they, nuts? How do they talk Nick into that? Anyway, it's going to be big. All the classic stuff is going to be here, the CGC, CZAs, and more. So remember, September 7th, it's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on The Experience. Can't wait to see you then.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Thrills. How is everybody doing? Station, pop, boom! Super excited to be here, everybody. We've already had a blast tonight. We talked a little bit about Rings of Power, right? And House of the Dragon, more so about Rings of Power, and basically about how House of the Dragon is pretty fucking badass right now. We talked a lot about She-Hulk twerking. And why some people would be okay with that, and why some people would have a problem with that, and why overall that's okay. But extremes is still, we don't, on any side, we want to avoid extremism, right? Anyway, moving on. We looked at our favorite comic books from last week. Mine was Agent of the World #2. We looked ahead what was coming up in shops this week, a much more robust week. Looks like some pretty decent books. I asked you, what are you looking forward to coming up in comic shops this week? We'll be answering those questions in the chat here in just a moment. But coming up, we got the DC sneak peek. We got the Elvis movie review. And I mean the 1979 Elvis, because it is the fourth film directed by John Carpenter. And we are going through the John Carpenter filmography chronologically. And we've already done Dark Star. And we did Assault on Precinct 13. And we did Someone's Watching Me. And we did Halloween. And the movie he did right after Halloween was Elvis, starring Kurt Russell, and we're doing Image in the 90s. We're doing a half of an issue. It's Youngblood #5. It's only half of an issue. We'll get to that. We are going to be setting up the Horror Fest poll, but do not worry. That is still to come. We haven't done it yet, but we're going to have fun. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can also find a link to merch there, as well as in the description on this very video. We got some great new designs up, including the Horny Time Horseshoe design, as well as the gigantic Moronic Splendor design. So definitely check those out. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, and you can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. We're more active on Instagram than we are on Facebook. However, most of the members of the PCP crew, excitable we are active on Facebook in our Facebook group, the PCP Army. It's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can support the channel with Super Chat here, which will trigger a video, and it will be fun. Or you can do so at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. We appreciate everybody and all of the support that we've gotten over the years. We really do appreciate it. It makes me humbled that y'all care about what we do here. So thank you so much for all the support, but just being here, showing up, liking, sharing, subscribing, that is support enough. We really do appreciate that. Coming up here on the channel, first of all, I will not be on the experience tomorrow like my typical Monday time. It is Labor Day. They took it off, but I will be there on Wednesday with AR Comics. It's going to be one of those big shows like we did the week of 4th of July. They're giving away that Red Sonja trading card set. You saw the promo that Amy did for us, so that's super freaking cool. But tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, we continue Horror Fest with the first PCP movie night of Horror Fest. We're talking about the Scream franchise. It's going to be me, Jelani, Brooks, Hammer Time, Holshoe, and guess what? We also got Dylan from Dylan's Horror Show joining us, as well as the man himself, Manny. And hopefully, he won't have to transform into the Incredible Hulk. At on Thursday, we've got She-Hulk, the episode review and discussion. It will be episode 4. This is the awesome thumbnail that Manny did for us for episode 3, including Wong, because the first one was wrong, so this one had Wong, and it worked out just right. Anyway, we have so much fun talking about She-Hulk. It is better than the show, and definitely worth watching. And then on Saturday night, we roll on through with Horror Fest. We are just getting started. But on Dylan's Horror Show, we got American Mary, starring Catherine Isabel. So that's what's coming up here on the channel, and thank you all so much for joining us. So when we last left you, we asked, what are you excited to read in shops coming out this week? Let's see what y'all were saying. Evil Face Bad says, I definitely need Batman and Turtles books this week. Eric says, Batman and the Penultimate Once and Future are gonna be dope. Hey, and we got Fable in the house, we got Manny in the house, and we got Verno in the house. What is up, y'all? Pop, pop, boom. Yo, Robbie, how would you rank Robert Kirkman books? My favorite Robert Kirkman book right now might be Firepower. I think Firepower is really good. It's still ongoing, but I haven't finished. I only briefly dived into Invincible, Oblivion Song, and Outcast. So I've read most of The Walking Dead, and it's really good at first, and then it kind of falls apart. It just kind of repeats the same story. Most of his superhero work is just kind of okay, like from like the 2000s or whatever. So right now, I would say that Firepower would be my number one, but I need, there's more reading I need to do. Let's just say that. Is that from the Disturbed album? You're funny, bro. Mark's looking forward to Batman or Flashpoint Beyond, Sword of Azrael, Image, which has Dutch from Team Youngblood by Joe Casey, and Erratic Recharge #1. Taki's excited for TMNT and Flashpoint Beyond. Chris is looking forward to How to Make a Monster. Taki says on Earth 45, Rockin Robbie Live is with Rockin Robbie Bitcoin. Okay. Billy says, on my Earth, our Rockin' Robbie's channel is all about NASCAR. Wow. That's rough, man. When is Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, written by Bruce Campbell, out? Yes, at the end of the month. Raphael's in the house. Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? If you did, how did you like it? If you haven't, go see it. It's awesome. Yeah, I loved it. It's my second favorite film I've seen this year. I gave it a very high-rated 4.5. That the next time I watch it, which will be my second time, it may jump up to a 5. The movie is damn good, and I adored it. And the only 2 movies that have really won me over so far this year have been X and Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I loved it. Mike says, Firepower is awesome. What about Fortnite X Marvel? I haven't read that. I don't know anything about Fortnite, and I did try to read the Batman Fortnite one at first, and it was losing me. And so, since I'm not super attached to that property, I usually skip it. And we get Empire Comics in the house station. And yeah, I'm really pumped. So, I should have read it, but I did get a look at Bruce Campbell's Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, and I was too busy, and I didn't actually read it, but I did flip through it. Eduardo Risso's artwork is fucking awesome in that book, and it looked cool. So I haven't read it fully, but I did flip through it, and it looks awesome. We get Atari announce, what is up? How you doing? All right, I do also have an announcement. Next week, we're doing Rockin' Robbie at a special time. We just came back off a 2-week hiatus. I'm ready to go. However, NFL starts next weekend, and the Cowboys play at night. Now, normally when the Cowboys play on Sunday nights, y'all know, if you're familiar with the last few years of Rockin' Robbie Live, I'll just watch it as we chat. However, they're playing the Buccaneers, and it's the first game of the season. So I want to watch that game. Therefore, Rockin' Robbie Live next week, and just next week only, we're not going to make a habit out of this. We're going to be starting at 5 p.m. Central Time, 2 hours earlier. So 5 p.m. Central Time next Sunday will be Rockin' Robbie Live, because I don't want to skip Rockin' Robbie Live, but I want to watch that Cowboys game. I want to pay attention, because I hope good things is happening. So if the rescheduling messes up during the time that your football team is playing, I am sorry. But normally, I would just watch the game as we stream. However, it being the first one of the year and against the Bucs, I don't want y'all to see me too elated or too upset, I should say. So next week, 5 p.m. Central Time is when we're starting. Oh, you're funny, William. Atari says we should all watch together live. We will in future games, but not for the first one, Atari. I'm sorry. That's my moment. That's my time. I got to have that first game. Mike says Cowboys are going to get lit up. We'll see, Mike. You want to bet Taco Bell lunch on it? I already owe you a Mexican pizza. Those come back very soon. Taki says, Rockin' Robbie, Mike McCarthy is at his best when everyone's written him off. I don't need words of encouragement, but I appreciate the idea behind that sentiment. Neighborhood Mercs in the house. What is up? Fly, Eagles, fly. We'll allow it. It's early still in the season. We'll allow it. Bob says, this will be my first year going without any connection to regular TV. Everything I consume is from a streaming service. How y'all get in the NFL games if you stream? Haven't figured that one out. That game's going to be on NBC. How do you get NBC games? I guess, can you just stream it on their site? I mean, you can get an antenna and plug it in your TV, and if you get good reception, you can watch it. The problem is I don't get good reception, so I always have to, go streaming. So for Auburn yesterday, I had to unlock ESPN Plus, which I haven't had in a while, but I had to unlock it because I don't have cable either. And I don't get good reception, but I had to unlock ESPN Plus so I could watch my Tigers, man, you know? But if you get an antenna and you get decent enough service, you should be able to watch that game because it would be on NBC. We can do Taco Bell or a Happy Meal, your choice. Well, okay, Mike, what is there a special toy going on at the Happy Meals or something? Mike says it could be worse, Rob. I'm a Lions fan. There you go. Now, luckily with the Cowboys, we're usually on Fox, right? So a lot of Cowboys games are aired, and we're fortunate being Cowboys fans for that. However, the games that are not aired or accessible, I usually watch this dude on YouTube who just kind of chats and drinks and shit while he's watching the game, tells you what's happening. He does play-by-play. I really enjoy it. I think it's good. Taki says, so you have to go with Sling. That's what I might have to start doing once Fox gets involved. Because I'll be honest with y'all. So a long time ago, a homie of mine, I was like, hey, man, I want to watch the Auburn game, but I don't have a cable password to have the ESPN app allow me to watch it. So a homie of mine got a homie of his to give me his cable password And that cable password has worked for fucking years. And it's unlocked any like ESP, all the sports shit that I need to watch. I get the apps, I put in his password, and it works. All of a sudden now, it doesn't fucking work. So I am up Schitt's Creek without a fucking paddle. So I had to open up ESPN Plus. I'm probably going to have to get Sling or something so I have FS1. Jesus. If anybody has got cable passwords. But yeah, I've done Sling before. That's how I kept up with the NBA last year. Jorm in the house. What is up? Says roast beef in the pot. Give up a pop. Oh, boom, boom, pop. Station Rockin' Robbie. All station. Pedro, Eric, Fable, Tacky, all the chat. I see you. Read your books. Keep that pulled up to date. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, nothing special. Why? I don't want a Happy Meal unless there's a fucking cool toy inside of it, bruh. What, do you get 4 nuggets with a Happy Meal? That's bullshit, man. I like YouTube TV, though. It's a bit pricey. You know, I think YouTube TV should give YouTubers a discount. That's what I think. I have Paramount Plus. So that takes care of any CBS games. Jamaro says, if I've learned anything from television, it's that if you're stuck with the sling, simply revert back to your Bruce Banner form and it'll help you heal. Brother, it'll help you heal. Manny was cracking us up on the She-Hulk show the other night. Really good shit. Y'all need to watch that. If you don't want to watch that, just go to Fable and Manny's Instagram pages because they clipped out some of the bits, and Manny turning into the Incredible Hulk before our eyes was my favorite. All right, y'all. DC Comics has got books out this week, believe it or not, and I read them, so now it's time for your DC sneak peek. And before we get into this, I want to spotlight a channel. So if someone could throw up the link to Sleepy Reader 666, that would be a big help for me if one of the mods could do that. So Damien is from Portland. Seems like I don't know his full history. Seems like he's a long-time comic book reader and collector. Excuse me. A friend of Bullseye Bob, friend of Bueller, friend of a lot of us here in the community. We had Damien on the monthly review for June and July. We combined them together. We'll have to do that again for August and September because with the start of Horror Fest and everything, there was a lot going on. Didn't really have... We'll figure it out. However, point being this. Damien has such a great YouTube channel about comics because Damien understands the history of comics better than most. And I love his perspective, his unique perspective, because when I hear him talk about comics, I can kind of place the era where he really got into it. And it feels to me like it's the Bronze Age, right? And he's really into that. And I love hearing him talk about things from that era, things from the era before, and seeing how he responds to the books through the decades. It's a different perspective than me, because I'm not saying Damien's an old man or nothing, but he's a little bit older and a lot more wiser than I am. So I kneel at the feet of Damien because Damien knows so much about this industry and he has influenced me, and I have picked up books because of Damien, and I'm always excited to hear what he thinks about the new comics, especially with that connection to the old comics that he loves. And I'm not saying he just talks about old comics because he doesn't. Damien is a hip and fresh reader and reviewer, believe it or not. And I love his channel. So in honor of Damien, for tonight's DC sneak peek, I am adopting his format. What he does for his weekly review is he does a countdown. He goes from the book he enjoyed the least to the book he enjoyed the most. Thank you, Fable. Thank you. So that's what I'm going to do for the DC sneak peek. So we're starting with the book that I enjoyed the least. But I will say this. There was a level of enjoyment on all of these books. Joe, if you've never checked out Damien's stuff, you really need to check out his channel. I love him so much. He was we need to get him and you on a monthly show together. That would be a great conversation. All right. The DC book I enjoyed the least this week was Batman Dear Detective. It's a one-shot from Lee Bermejo. So what this is Lee Bermejo's variant covers that he's been doing for like Detective Comics and shit, somehow put together to try to tell a story, and there's certain pages of text. Someone's writing a letter to Batman, and at the end, there are these clues that are spread throughout the text that you can put together to spell out the name of the person writing him the letter. And it's when you get to the end of it, you're like, that's fucking dumb. This is like a kid's book. Anyway, that aside, Lee Bermejo's cover art being displayed on a giant prestige format plus size is really cool. And without even realizing what was going on as he was publishing it, some of it does tell a sequential story. Like there are moments in here. Well, I don't usually show art on these things, but let's do it real quick. But for instance, so you see every once in a while you get a page like this, and then you got Batman at a body, Batman climbing a roof, and then going into a window, and you see that the rope is tied there, so that there is some continuity between those images. But then there are some images that are just thrown in there. There he is going up. So it's cool to like see the artwork big and all that kind of stuff, but the idea of like forcing it into a story is kind of cheesy, man, to be honest with you. Next up in the countdown is Dark Knights of Steel, Tales from the Three Kingdoms. So this is 3 short stories set in the Dark Knights of Steel world. Overall, I did enjoy this book, and it does actually utilize these short stories to set up things that will definitely be relevant in the second part of this 12-issue series. However, I do hate when they do a $6 fucking one-shot anthology in the midst of an ongoing, like, are you putting this in the trade? How random will that be? Are you shoving it in the middle of the fucking story to interrupt the fucking flow? That being said, the stories aren't that bad. One of them goes into the past of Kal-El and Bruce. They all do set up something, though, that will be relevant. So overall, I thought it was okay. It wasn't that bad. Next up is Poison Ivy, number 4. This one was kind of weird for me because at first I was not liking it. In fact, I was not liking the artwork at all at first. And has it been Takara the entire time? I don't know, but at first I was not liking the artwork. And then as the story progressed, it kind of took this horrific turn in the narrative, and then the art went ham with that. And I fucking loved that. So some elements of this I didn't like at all. Other elements I really liked. So this Poison Ivy series has been a bit inconsistent, a bit up and down, a bit disjointed, but there were some really solid moments in that issue. Next up, these are the ones I would say were really solid. New Champion of Shazam number 2. I loved this issue. The first issue was really cool. Mary Marvel is going to college. She's trying to separate herself from the family, from the Shazam stuff. A lot of stuff's been going on with the mythos of the Shazam world. But while she's in college, she finds out that her foster parents have been kidnapped, and then she gets chosen to be the new Shazam. So she has to return home, very disappointed, and try to solve this mystery while still trying to maintain her path towards a college degree. I loved it. Doc Shaner's artwork is impeccable. It is so freaking good. His coloring is really good too. There are some moments where maybe some better distinction between foreground and background. However, for the most part, it pops and it works, and it's a very refined line, and I loved it. I thought this was a really solid book. Next up, Sword of Azrael, issue number 2. Dan Waters is doing exceptional character work with Jean-Paul Valley, with Azrael. So I'm very familiar with this character. When Sword of Azrael came out by Denny O'Neil and Joe Quesada, I ate that shit up. And then Nightfall and Night Quest and all that shit, I loved Azrael. I also grew up a bit religious and on the road to be a Baptist preacher at a point, and I was studying hard and all that kind of stuff. So there's an element to here that speaks to me on a personal level about programming, indoctrination, guilt, sorrow, hope, heroism, redemption. There are elements there, but it's about the struggle. A lot of people don't understand until they're really into it, but like with anything, when you are pursuing a path of faith, there is struggle there, like dark, deep struggle and torment, like crazy stuff that goes inside, that happens inside. The way that Dan Waters is able to express this in the journey of Azrael is great. The way he's also able to expand the mythology of Azrael, the Order of St. Dumas, the Knights Templar, all that stuff, tie it together is really cool. The artwork has an energy to it that works, and then just like in Poison Ivy, there are moments where this takes a kind of psychedelic, horrific turn, and the artwork steps up 100%. So that was really cool. Next up, Batman 127. So Batman by Chip Zdarsky has been off to a really cool run so far. Really cool start. The basic premise of this is there's this new villain called Failsafe. Failsafe is something that Batman designed to stop Batman, but Batman doesn't know he designed because only a personality that resides deep within the subconscious of Batman, he's the one that designed this. However, I don't want to spoil much yet if you're still waiting to read it, but it has ties back to the Grant Morrison run of Batman. It has ties to the Mark Waid run of Justice League of America, JLA, and I'm loving it. And Jorge Jimenez, dynamic, kinetic, fully charged and leaping off of the page artwork and amazing colors by both Jimenez and Tomomori. Absolutely cool stuff. And the Catwoman backup comes to a conclusion, and I will say that overall, that has been one of my favorite backup stories in a DC book since they've started redoing these backup stories. So I really like that. I thought that was cool. Next up, we got Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 4. I like this story. I really do. 4 issues in, though, it feels like the crisis is just now starting. And that hinders it, but at the same time, it separates it from some of the other crisis events. It's not going so hard, so fast, so quick. It's taking time to pull back, be a bit more reflective, and a bit more character-focused and legacy-oriented. And for that, I like it. So there's a part of me disappointed in the flow and scale of the book because I feel like more should have happened in 4 issues. But at the same time, I'm enjoying this smaller perspective on this large event. That being said, the end of this issue, super excited to see where it goes. Also some great Legion of Doom stuff in that issue. But my favorite DC book this week was Flashpoint Beyond number 5. I will tell you this straight up. The first page of Flashpoint Beyond number 5 ruins the entire ending of Dark Crisis. Ruins it. Ruins it. Ruins it. Ruins it. Fucking ruins it. It ruins it. However, what then it does, it goes into this really deep dive into like DC meta cosmology. Like, it goes really far in these first pages to talk about the difference between the Omniverse and hypertime and a time crisis versus a space crisis. And it pulls so many threads together from so many other things and separates and makes a logical reason why certain crisis events are different than others, like 0 Hour and Convergence and Flashpoint are different than Dark Crisis or Infinite Crisis or Crisis on Infinite Earths or even Final Crisis. There's a reasoning for that. All that's cool and all that's very densely packed into the first few pages. And then it just gives us a really great continuation of this detective story. involving Thomas Wayne in this world. He found out a crazy revelation in the last issue. This gets developed in here in a very exciting way, and then ties in a mystery that it's been building up to, and Bruce's involvement. It ties it all in together at the end to perfectly set up what should prove to be a fantastic finale. Flashpoint Beyond, we basically got a space crisis and a time crisis going on at the same time, and how will that impact each other? I don't know, but overall, I really liked this week's DC books. I thought they were all pretty solid. There's a reason to buy every single one of them. Every single one may not be for you, but for the most part, I enjoyed all of them. I really did. And that has been your DC sneak peek in tribute to Damien of Sleepy Reader 666. So if you haven't subscribed to Damien's channel, definitely do so. There is a link up there. All right, let's see who's in the house. Big Herm says Damien is great and a fantastic friend. Hell yeah. Mars Comics says, heck yeah, Damien has such a great channel. Absolutely. Bob says, yes, give my brother Damien the due he deserves. Damien and Robbie are my two fur reviews. Always love hearing his perspective and how much he reminds me of things I have forgotten. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He was here earlier, and it doesn't look like he's here now, but I'm glad because I feel like he would be embarrassed because he seems to be a very modest man. But y'all, Damien is one of the best YouTube comic channels out there. Ah, shit, there he is right there. Never mind, Damien sucks. Don't check out his channel. Billy says McFarlane needs to take over DC now. You think so? Big Herm says, I'm digging Poison Ivy. G. Willow Wilson is a great writer. Joram says, oh, Mary, getting some shine. That reminds me I need to place I Love You, Mary Jane. It's not a gender swap, bro. Mary Marvel was a Shazam character before. Absolutely. Never was able to articulate religious guilt's effect on me. Yeah, I think Frank Miller does it kind of well, but in a Catholic way. I wasn't Catholic, so it's a little bit different. DC seems smart to snag writers like Waters. Absolutely. Writers like Dan Waters, Rom V, Alex Pagnadell's coming up. So we'll see what happens. Is there a reason to buy Dark Crisis anymore? Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. The only way it spoils the ending is to let you know that everything's going to be okay. Like, I don't think any of us thought that, like, the Crisis, like, the bad guys were going to win and they destroy reality and the DC universe is over. I don't think anybody thought that would happen. Timing, though, is a little fucking weird, man. Timing's a little weird. Like, why would you fucking do that? It's literally the first fucking panel of the page. Jorm says, yo, being a DC head, Black Adam bangs hardcore. I just can't think of anything else. Damien says, Black Adam has been cool. Thanks for the sneak peek. I am here and blushing. Oh, shucks. No, you're fantastic, bro. You're fantastic thoughts. All right. All right, so we're going through John Carpenter movies, y'all. And next up on the list, I was really hoping. So, like, 2 weeks ago, I was wanting to do this movie so that when we're in the midst of Horror Fest. So I was hoping that we'd have a horror movie because the next movie would be The Fog. However, just the way the cookie crumbles is the way it is. So we're continuing our look at John Carpenter's filmography in chronological order. And tonight we're talking about Elvis from 1979. So Elvis is a made-for-TV movie directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell, and it was released in 1979. I remember this movie a lot. I don't know if it was played repeatedly on TV in the 80s when I was growing up, but my grandmother on my stepdad's side was a huge fan of Elvis. Just country music in general, like Conway Twitty and shit, but she loved Elvis. She listened to a lot of Elvis, and I remember her watching this movie a lot. So maybe she had a VHS, I don't know. But this was the first time I had watched this movie since childhood, and holy shit, this movie's really good, y'all. This movie's really good. So it's John Carpenter's second made-for-TV movie. He did Someone's Watching Me, which released after Halloween, but it was filmed right before Halloween. So that's why we covered it before Halloween. Then we did Halloween, and this was the follow-up. This movie slaps. It's really good for what it is. First of all, Kurt Russell is absolutely amazing in this role. When I was ready to rewatch this movie, I was like, there's no way that Kurt Russell's going to be anything other than Kurt Russell to me, but he became Elvis, right? And his performance, and I don't know, wasn't able to find out much information. In fact, the Shout Factory Blu-ray doesn't have much special features. I wasn't able to find out much information about if he sang the stuff. I don't feel like he did, but maybe he did. I don't know. But in these days, I don't think that they would have gotten Kurt Russell to actually sing the bits, but whoever does the singing is really good. But his vocalization of just the tone of Elvis's voice, his movements, the way he performs, it was all there. But it does, so this movie was released 2 years after Elvis died. And what's weird about it is that it mythologizes Elvis, right? Who has already kind of been revered by so many people at this point, and then the death only adds to that legend, to that mythology. So this, to me, felt very much like, if anybody remembers the made-for-TV giant miniseries Jesus of Nazareth, which I adore, it feels like that, but with Elvis. They focus a lot on his mother, his relationship with his mother. The woman that plays his mother does a very good job, and it's a very genuine relationship, love, motherly love that she's giving to Elvis. And you feel this just burden within Elvis that he just wants to do his mother proud. He wants to make her life better. Elvis doesn't fit in with the rest. He just cares so much about his mother. They really build her up as a straight up, almost like a BVM type figure, like a religious Blessed Virgin Mary kind of icon. And especially when we started dealing with her death, man, it started hitting close to me, man. I've lost my grandmother and my mother in my life, and both of them were so important to me. So that was something that resonated with me in this movie. But they did kind of skirt through some things. They do a great job of building up Elvis as this mythological figure. They paint him very Christ-like. I mean, good kid, good dude, loves his mother, doesn't do anything wrong, but he has this cold emptiness inside of him, especially after his mother dies. So when they get into the bits where he like marries Priscilla and they're having their marital problems and things like that, obviously we know Elvis started dealing with some issues with substances and stuff. They don't touch on any of that. Now the behavior is there, but the movie stays as clean and as far removed from that aspect as possible. You basically get the idea that the marriage didn't work out because he was married to being a star. But all in all, it was really solidly well done. The movie is almost 3 hours long, and I was not looking forward to rewatching it because I was like, this is just 3 hours. I don't know if it's going to appeal to me. Holy shit. The 3 hours went by so quick, and it's not just because of Kurt Russell. It's not just because of John Carpenter. It's because of the other performances. His Buddy Red is one of my favorite performances. There's a lot left unsaid and undone in the movie, but it does have a really cool kind of approach to it where it's taking it seriously. It's trying to reveal layers, but at the same time, it's not trying to do anything to disrespect the king. So it keeps its story squeaky clean. But it does allude to a darkness and an emptiness inside of the king that when you think about that this movie ends years before his death and kind of like the final phase of his career, it kind of has a somber ending instead of such a hopeful one. So overall, I thought this movie was rather good. Elvis, the TV movie, I would give this one 4. Ya digs. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I could not believe. It's kind of like when I first watched Lonesome Dove and I knew how long it was. I almost wasn't looking forward to it, but when you start watching Lonesome Dove, you get sucked in. You get sucked into this movie. It's the way it's paced. It's the utilization of the music as well. The music comes in at the right moments to just pep you back up, and then when it goes into these maybe more of a lully moment, it pops right back up with some of that music, a different variety of it, upbeat stuff, slow stuff, tender stuff, heartwarming stuff. There's my copy of it right there. Shout Factory Blu-ray. I highly encourage anybody, if you're a John Carpenter fan and this is one that you just don't have in your collection or have never watched, I highly encourage you to watch it. Now, I see some people talking about the new one in the chat. I haven't seen the new Elvis movie, but it's going to be tough to top this one because it could go deeper and do more truthful things about the fall and rise of the king. But it's really interesting to see a movie done this way that, like I'm saying, it gives me vibes of Jesus of Nazareth. It is structured like that movie. Like, it's like the birth of the king. Like, it's wild. Elvis was like a near religious icon to so many people. This movie, I feel, really understands and respects that. So I think this is the perfect Elvis movie for Elvis fans that don't want to accept the grim, gritty reality of what actually happened. But I thought it was really good. And for a TV movie being that long, I would have hated to watch this with commercials, but holy shit, that was really good. I was very, very impressed. So there you go. Tony Stank 1138 says, I drive by Graceland all the time. Never been there in 47 years. Bob says, we just watched the new Elvis movie last night. The kid that plays Elvis did a freaking phenomenal job. Tom Hanks did a weird broken accent, so it fails in that aspect. But that kid's so good. And Bob says, Kurt Russell was awesome in this version. He was. He was. And this was the beginning of Kurt Russell and John Carpenter's working relationship. And just a couple years after this, we got Escape from New York, y'all. Then The Thing. Damien says, I didn't realize Carpenter did this movie. Yeah, he did two TV movies. This was one of them. So weird in his filmography. Sticks out like a sore thumb, but great. And think about this. Without this movie, we wouldn't have Escape from New York or The Thing. Without Kurt Russell or Big Trouble. Because without Kurt Russell and John Carpenter together, those movies don't happen the way they happen. And without this movie, those movies don't happen. So, what a rather important film in the Carpenter canon. Bob, you're right. Snake Plissken. Mars says, I watched the new Elvis movie just the other day. It was awesome. Albert says, Jesus of Nazareth is an amazing film. Franco Zeffirelli was the director. The acting is great. The score is excellent. Yes, I have it over there on DVD. I love watching that shit. Watching that while I was in the hospital dying from an infection on Easter was a very profound experience in my life. All right, y'all. Hell yeah, man. That Elvis movie's good, y'all. Don't sleep on it. All right, it's time to dig back in to Rob Liefeld's classic Youngblood series. It's time for the latest installment of Youngblood and Image in the 90s. And today we're talking about Youngblood number 5. Youngblood number 5 is a half of a comic. It's 14 pages with artwork by Chap Yap. It is written by Rob Liefeld, but the script and the editing is done by Eric Stevenson. I believe this is the first time Eric Stevenson was working on Youngblood. We have Norm Rapond on the inking and Paul Mounts on the lettering, Kurt Hathaway on Kurt Hathaway on the lettering, Paul Mounts on the coloring. This was a half of an issue. It was the flip book along with Brigade number 4, and it just kind of wraps up the story that we've been talking about for the last several weeks. So let's get into it. First of all, not having Rob Liefeld do the artwork was disappointing because I really feel like Rob Liefeld's work was starting to really solidify over the courses of issues 2, 3, and especially 4 of Youngblood. So we got Chap Yap, and I'm sure he's working on Rob Liefeld layouts or whatnot, but it's not that bad. The coloring doesn't quite work for me, but the scripting is better. Eric Stevenson's got a better kind of line, like eye or ear for dialogue, one can say, and he does this great kind of bit where Shaft is narrating the story, so we get it from his perspective, but it does very quickly and in very big, bold splash pages wrap up the story that feels almost like it had barely gotten started. But when we last left what was going on, Darkthorn had shown up and he has Bedrock under his control. My bad, he's still Bedrock, I believe, at this time. So now Youngblood and some of the more recently revitalized members of the Berserkers and the Youngblood away team, now they're awake. They now have to go up against Darkthorn and a controlled Bedrock. So Shaft puts together his plan. He is being established as the leader. He sends one of the Berserkers, who he doesn't know much about, but they are on his side. The Berserkers are led by Kirby, but he sends this guy out, and I can't remember his name. I think it's Wildmane or something like that. Sends him after Bedrock and just kind of has Brahma and this dude his name is just Gray. He comes in. They knock the hell out of Bedrock. So, like, all that buildup, Bedrock gets taken out. Just a couple of punches, but then Darkthorn is there, and he has taken out Prophet. Now, all Darkthorn wants is Prophet, right? So he's after him. He's getting the upper hand, but then Shaft gets the rest of Youngblood and some of the Berserkers to just go ham on Darkthorn now that Bedrock's been taken out of the picture. Then we get Sentinel coming in. He's trying to do his little thing, and everybody is having little to no effect against Darkthorn. They are getting their asses kicked. In fact, if Prophet can't make it, then nobody can. Maybe Photon, who finally gets some action in a page of Youngblood. He goes after Darkthorn. Nothing happens. Like, Darkthorn just blows him away. Then Psyfire, who has a power dampener on his neck, because Psyfire's the dude in issue number 1 who's a little unhinged, and when the away team was off trying to deal with the situation in the Middle East, he popped the head using his telekinetic abilities, popped the head of Hassan Hussein. Hassan Hussein is his name. So he's a little psychotic, and he's like, yo, take this power inhibitor off. I'm the only one that's going to be able to stop him. And Riptide and Vogue are kind of like, you know what? Maybe he's right. Meanwhile, Kirby tries to jump in, tries to help out. Darkthorn is just killing everybody. It's just murking them, right? But then here comes Psyfire, and his abilities do cause Darkthorn a lot of pain, but it does kind of become almost a stalemate. But Darkthorn realizes that Psyfire is going to eventually get the upper hand, so he disappears back through the portal to his own world, because they had this portal open, right? They were, unleashing all these villains. They were coming out specifically to get Prophet. The Berserkers come from that world too. So he leaves, and the Berserkers are like, well, we got to go after him. And Kirby's like, you know what, though? I feel like Prophet is familiar to me. I don't understand the reason. I'm going to stay here and solve this. Y'all go in there and continue the fight against Darkthorn. So Cross, who is now the de facto leader of the Berserkers, the rest of the Berserkers, they go off. They leave Kirby there. Him and Prophet are going to now go off, I guess, into the Prophet book to do their thing. I just recently got every issue of that, so I'm pumped. Die Hard does make it through. He was abandoned on the other side of the portal, but before it closes, he does make it through, so he's okay. Bedrock's okay, and then Prophet and Kirby, they're setting up the Prophet book right there. Kirby and him, they feel familiar with each other, so there's a hinted past that neither of them remember. They're, I'm sure, going to develop that in that series, right? And then at the very end, Bedrock's just like, well, who's going to clean up the mess? And that's how the Youngblood miniseries wrapped up. So, like I said, this is a flip book with Brigade number 4. So it's more a Brigade number 4 that happened to have Youngblood number 5 attached to it. Now, Rob had been troubled by lateness in the launch of Youngblood and other projects at the beginning of Image. Youngblood did not come out the way they wanted it to. They wanted a 4-issue miniseries, and at 4, the story was too big to wrap up, so they wrapped it up here. It was planned to be 10 pages. It wound up being 14. So it is a little unsettling that the final chapter was just this truncated flip book side of a Brigade number 4. Aside from that, though, it's a decent enough conclusion. I just wish it had the time to actually conclude in a proper way. This feels very rushed. Chap Yap's artwork is pretty solid. The inking works. The colors don't quite work for me. A lot of orange, green, and brown that just kind of muddies it up. That is something that you see in a lot of Paul Mount's work. He colors a lot of, he used to color a lot of Brian Hitch stuff. And I think he perfects it, but in this day, they were still trying to figure out this digital coloring, this paper, and each issue of Youngblood feels like it's different paper stock, a different color quality. Lots of big moments here. It is a very quick wrap-up, but it still has some dynamic artwork at times. But overall, it does just fall a little bit flat. So Youngblood started off really raw and weak on issue number 1, and it solidly gets better from 2 to 3 to 4, and then to end like this just kind of is a bit unfortunate. However, I am really pumped to check out issue number 6 because that's where Rob came back with a rededicated focus on the book. They have more of the team in place now. You got Rob doing the plotting and the inking. You got Eric Stevenson doing the scripting, Kurt Hathaway doing the lettering. I think they bring somebody else in to do the coloring. Yes, they bring in what's his name? He was one of the best digital colorists at the time. I cannot remember his name. Y'all knew who I'm talking about. But the colors start popping. The line work gets even better. Danny Mickey starts inking, but Liefeld's inking his faces. So I think we're about to turn the corner here. But Youngblood, overall, this has been a fun experience. Youngblood number 1 is rough. But 2, 3, and 4, and then even this brief finale, they work for me. I'm really excited about going and diving into that Prophet book, especially the Stephen Platt stuff. So I don't know. I really liked it. Overall, I'd give the wrap-up like a 3 you digs because it needed a little bit more space, a little bit more room to breathe. But as truncated as it is, it's still doable, still serviceable. I liked it. So there you go. And this has been Image in the 90s. I'm having fun with Youngblood. I'll be honest, I've had more fun 4 issues of Youngblood, 5 if you count that, 4.5. Let's just say 4. I've had more fun with that than Wildcats, and Wildcats was my jam at the time. So, really weird, really weird. Metal Gear Solid wouldn't exist without this rendition of Elvis. That's a way to look into it. Are there any Christ parallels to any other Carpenter movies? I wonder. Well, are you being sarcastic? I immediately think of Prince of Darkness. If you ever submit a comic to Image, Eric Stevenson is the guy who makes the decision, yes or no. Yes, that is right. He is the publisher. A fine writer himself, though. He did one of my favorite books that just never fucking... It just... Where the fuck is it? Nowhere Men. Nowhere Men is a brilliant fucking book. And we'll never get that full story. Anyway. Kind of bums me out. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're setting up the Horror Fest poll, so you don't want to miss that. Get ready. Your suggestions for what you want us to review for PCP Horror Fest 2022. We're going to go through the list. Do not list them yet, because until I say time to go, we don't get them. But we're going to be doing the Horror Fest poll, Top 5 2014, and even more when we return on Rockin Robbie Live.
I love
the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Step it up, don't be scared. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad. Cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad. I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Step it up, don't be scared.
Hey everybody, come join us here at The Experience this Wednesday, September 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a big show because Rex is going to be here with John and Robbie and AR Comics. I might pop in if I feel like it, but it's going to be a big show because they are giving away this red Sonya trading card set and it's valued at $1,200. And they're giving it away. What are they, nuts? How do they talk Nick into that? Anyway, it's going to be big. All the classic stuff is going to be here, the CGC, CZAs, and more. So remember, September 7th, it's a Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on The Experience. Can't wait to see you then.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Thrills. How is everybody doing? We've had a great show already. We've been talking about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We did the DC sneak peek. We talked about John Carpenter's Elvis. We talked about Image in the 90s with Youngblood number 5, which was the conclusion of the first arc of Youngblood, abbreviated though it was. And lots of other fun stuff. We touched a little bit on Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, which is, I guess, wrapping up around now or whatever. But I'm excited to check that out when we're done with the show because I'm enjoying it. Coming up, we're about to do the Horror Fest poll. Top 5 movies of 2014. A little bit of a book report. Some show and tell. A little bit more. You find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP like these fine PCP patrons right there listed. Thank you each and every one for your support. If you're on patreon.com/PCP, you get access to the weekly comic book review hours before it drops on YouTube as a downloadable audio file. So that's beneficial to some people, getting it a little bit earlier. Let's see. What's coming up here at the channel? Well, tomorrow night, Horror Fest continues with our look at the entire Scream franchise. All 5 movies reviewed and rated tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night for Horror Fest 2022. That's at 8 p.m. Central Time. Join us Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time on the channel for our She-Hulk episode review and discussion. We'll be talking about episode 4 in full spoilery detail. The after show has been much better than the show, in my opinion. And Dylan's Horror Show, we continue Horror Fest 2022 with American Mary. Then, of course, join me Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. We got a great show over at The Experience. Link in the description below. I'll be there with Dynamic Forces and AR Comics. We're having this big slam bang, fantastic, spectacular. So, yes. You know, ads help support the channel. Unfortunately, If you get a creepy senator ad, I'm sorry, bro. I hate them too, but it's a part of life. Anyway, thank you so much. So how's everybody doing? All right, let's just go ahead and do it. We're doing the poll. So this is how it works. Y'all know how it works. I got 10 spots here to fill. List a movie that you want us to review for Horror Fest. If it's a movie that we have not already done, either here or on Dylan's Horror Show, if it's a movie that I do not veto, meaning that I got plans or something for the future maybe. So if it's not something that I got plans to do already, or something we have already done, here we go. And Mike was ready. Look at that. Mike was ready. Green Room, which is an A24 film. Never heard of that, but we'll put that on there. Green Room. 9 spots left. American Werewolf in London. CTA Frank, that's a good choice. We already did that. We did that last year during Horror Fest on Dylan's Horror Show, so I encourage you to check that out. Dead End from 2003. Okay. Not familiar with that, I don't think. Two Guns got some good picks, though. Fancy Pants, second Green Room. Ouroboros Snake says Possessor Uncut. I'm not familiar with that one either. Mike, I'm going to give other people a chance to get a pick on there. I'm going to limit to one per person. Revealer. That's the one that's co-written by Michael Morisi. I haven't watched that yet. I want to. Oh, Sleepaway Camp. We haven't done Sleepaway Camp. That's a great pick. Especially because I don't think Brooks has seen it. Vacation of Terror 2, Diabolical Birthday, says Joe Corallo. Damn, we should have done another Joe poll this year. Vacation of Terror 2. This was on your poll last year, wasn't it? Now, my buddy Blake had a movie I told him I was going to put on the list, and I don't remember what it was, so there will be 11. I, Madman. Possessor will ruin your soul, says Ouroboros Snake. Joe's not going to be happy till we've seen every one of those terrible movies that was on his poll, but I'll tell you what, Satan's Little Helper was the winner last year, and I loved that movie. Black Belly of the Tarantula. What a weird assortment of movies. 2 more spots, y'all. The Descent. Oh. Well, you already got Sleepaway Camp, CTA. Plus, I don't really like that movie. Tacky, The Bodyguard. You talking about the Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston movie, my friend? William, you already got I, Madman on there. But that's a good one. Two Gun says Mother. Two Gun, you're already on there. Theater of Blood. What is that? Black Belly of the Tarantula? One more spot. I just want to give everybody a chance to get one in there. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick to you guys trying to do 2. We're not going to put Bodyguard on there, Taki. Sorry. That's a veto. Sleepaway Camp, man. This is going to be the most interesting and unique Horror Fest poll we've had so far. Wasn't Black Belly a TV film? Technically, I already had 2 in Horror Fest. You did, but we'll give you 1 for the poll. All right, y'all. We need 1 more. Throw it out. What have we got here? Creep Show. We did Creep Show already. We did The People Under the Stairs already. Both of those we did on Dylan's Horror Show. And Kevin Smith's Tusk is considered a horror film. I'm not a fan of it. But is that what we're going with? Are we going with Tusk? What a weird fucking list, y'all. James hadn't had one yet, right? But CTA and Eric had. Black Belly the Tarantula is Italian horror. All right. Yeah, James hadn't had one yet. All right, James, we'll go with Tusk. What a weird fucking lineup. All right. Green Room, Dead End, Possessor, Revealer, Sleepaway Camp, Vacation of Terror 2, Diabolical Birthday, I, Madman, Black Belly of the Tarantula, Theater of the Blood, what the fuck? Theater of Blood, and Tusk. Rockin Robbie, that's one of our loves. Yali, yes, I love it. We second week of PCP Movie Night Horror Fest. We've got Deep Red, so I'm really pumped. All right, that poll is going to go up as soon as we wrap here. It's going to go up in the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. So go there to vote. That is not what I was expecting. That's a very interesting list, y'all. I think the winner's going to be Sleepaway Camp. And I hope it is almost in a way. Because I really want to see what Brooks thinks about this movie. Because I'm pretty sure he hasn't seen it. But Sleepaway Camp's like the only kind of like normie movie on that list. I don't know a lot of these movies at all. So, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Yep. The list will be up in the PCP Army as soon as we wrap here. And be sure to join us tomorrow night as we kick off Horror Fest at PCP Movie Night with Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then at Dylan's Horror Show, we do American Mary on Saturday. Hell yeah. All right, it's time to go back to 2014 and talk about our favorite movies of that year. Now, I haven't seen what are considered some of the best movies of this year, like Ex Machina. I still haven't seen that, so I couldn't consider that for my list. But for me, it was slim pickings on this list. But I will give an honorable mention to The Babadook. I do like it, but the opening of Scream 5 makes me like it just a little bit less, to be honest with you. But it's time to get into our top 5 movies of 2014. At number 5, I've got Edge of Tomorrow. We did this on Action Fest a couple years ago. I had never seen this movie, and I loved it. It's like Groundhog Day, but a sci-fi action kind of battle version of it with Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. Great performances, great action, really well done. I thought the movie was excellent. At number 4, Captain America Winter Soldier. A lot of people quote this as one of their favorite Marvel movies, and I think it's exceptional. I think this is a really solid movie. It actually has some personal, emotional ramifications and resonating bits in this movie compared to a lot of other Marvel properties, and this was a really good time for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At number 3, I've got Guardians of the Galaxy. I know some people may think it's sacrilegious to put that above Winter Soldier, but as much as I love the nuance and blatantness of the message of Winter Soldier, I love the fun of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a big James Gunn fan. This movie is awesome. Shocking, though, I love the sequel even more. So I really love this first movie, and for me, it was the best MCU film of that year. At number 2, John Wick. Man, last year we did this for Action Fest, the trilogy. I hadn't seen any single one of them, and I'm ashamed that it took me so long to watch John Wick. I love this movie. I love the sequels. I'm really pumped for part 4. I thought this movie was absolutely amazing, a great action movie, and a great performance from Keanu Reeves. And at number 1, Interstellar. You know, it's not the first time, and it probably won't be the last time that we see Christopher Nolan film as my movie of the year. I love Christopher Nolan, and this is my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I love the science behind it. I love the performance by Matthew McConaughey. It really works for me. I fucking love this movie as a sense of awe and wonderment that it instills in me, but also just the tragedy of human life, but at the same time the hopefulness of life and this universe. I love this movie. So at number 5, I've got Edge of Tomorrow. At number 4, I've got Winter Soldier. At number 3, I've got Guardians of the Galaxy. At number 2, I've got John Wick. And at number 1, I've got Interstellar. That's my top 5 of 2014. I want to know, what are yours? Let us know right now. Fancy Pants says, it took me several years to watch John Wick. It was so good that I instantly regretted waiting so long to experience it. Me too. Both, like all 3 of those movies are really good for me. They keep building out this world. And that's what I love about John Wick. It's a great action movie. The action sequences are great. They're well shot. You see the action. It's not hidden necessarily as much as some modern action movies. And it does have this kind of emotional trigger, right? At the beginning of the movie with the death of his wife and then the dog and all that shit. But the way that this builds out this world, and it creates, I haven't seen a movie create a world that was so fascinating to me since probably Lord of the Rings. I don't fucking know. Like, it is a complex goddamn world that they're building up in John Wick, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely. So what are y'all's favorite movies of 2014? Let us know right now in the chat, please. That's a hell of a Horror Fest list for the poll. I'll tell you all that. I'm going to kill a little bit. I got to kill a little bit of time. So I want to see some of y'all's. Here we go. William says 2014 films: Wormwood, What We Do in the Shadows, Captain America Winter Soldier, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Did they do a remake of that? And John Wick. Taki shouts out Big Hero 6. That one, Eric says Winter Soldier, Ex Machina, Guardians of the Galaxy, What We Do in the Shadows, and Grand Budapest Hotel. See, I still haven't seen Grand Budapest Hotel, and I haven't seen the What We Do in the Shadows movie. I've only seen the first season of the show, which I loved. Taki's out there with The Equalizer. Two Gun Pedro with John Wick, Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Expendables, and Fury. Haven't seen Fury myself. I haven't seen The Expendables, actually. That definitely sounds like fodder for Action Fest, does it not? Some good lists, some good picks. Now, Ex Machina is what I've been told is the movie I need to watch of that year. So I definitely got to find time to fit that in soon. I definitely do. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Man, I'm pumped for House of the Dragon. I really am. I'm liking that show a lot. And in fact, House of the Dragon may hurt Rings of Power, because Rings of Power did not have near as much movement, interesting characters, and interesting plots as the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. Not that we have to compare them, but what we're getting now is this wave of shows that they started to develop when they were like, fuck, Game of Thrones is about to go away. We need something to fill the void, the fantasy void, right? They're starting to pop in now. Taki says, Lucy, what Black Widow should have been. CTA Frank says, Live, Die, Repeat. I love that fucking movie. Well, I haven't seen, that's because it's based on an original movie called Live, Die, Repeat, right? I haven't seen that. I've only seen Edge of Tomorrow. Fancy Pants says, Ex Machina, John Wick, Interstellar, Whiplash, and Gone Girl. Haven't watched Gone Girl still. That's always one I wanted to watch back then. Always one I wanted to watch. All right, before we get into show and tell, a couple weeks ago we debuted a brand new, same movie. Well, isn't like Edge of Tomorrow a remake of a movie? I'm just curious. Or was it called something different, like overseas or something, maybe? Trade Paper Dad says the book Gone Girl is way better. Speaking of books, a couple weeks ago we debuted the book report. Since I finally finished The Dark Tower, it freed me up, and I have been reading books like crazy again. So I've been wanting to share them with you as I go through them, and I actually got a good leeway on this. But that 2-week break didn't hurt. But now it's time for your second edition of the book report. Tonight we're talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. All right, so right after I read The Terminal Man, I decided, you know what? Let's reread 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. There's my copy right there. Cheap little paperback edition, well read, as you can see. I have the sequels to the books, but I haven't read the sequels. 2010, 2061, and 3001. I haven't read those 3. So I was like, let me read those. But before I do that, I want to reread this. Now, I am a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, what's interesting about this book is that Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke wrote that screenplay together. And then Arthur C. Clarke wrote this book based on that screenplay. The book came out first, if I remember the information correctly. I wasn't there in 1968. I think the book came out first. I'm not sure. But I love the movie. The movie is stunning, right? And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But there is a lot left to the imagination or the impression you get from certain visuals. Now, the first time I read this was back in high school because I loved the movie, but I wanted to read the book because I heard that the book made the ending make sense. I had a homie of mine named Josh when I was in high school that was a big sci-fi fan. He got me into a lot of these books. He's the one that introduced me to Philip K. Dick. He's the one that introduced me. Well, I had already been into Isaac Asimov, but he introduced me to Clark, to Dick, and that sounded weird. But either way, he also introduced me to Chariots of the Gods, and he was the one that let me borrow my first Star Trek novel, which was the Next Generation novel. Anyway, this book does elaborate a lot on some of the things, some of the concepts, some of the ideas in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Particularly the ending. The ending's a little bit different and a little bit more explained. The only difference is just kind of what happens at the very, very tail end of the story. But I love it. This book gives me a sense of wonder and awe. It does replicate the cinematic sense that I get from the movie, but in book form. It's written very matter-of-factly. It's not a character-driven book. It is set up just like the movie. It starts 3 million years ago at the dawn of man. The monolith shows up, but it goes into more elaboration about what the monolith is actually doing to the brains of these primates. It goes a little bit more in depth about the voyage out to Saturn, where they're going, why they're going. It goes more in depth about some of the stuff with the Howl bit. Like, it's chilling. It's got a sense of wonder and awe, but it also feels claustrophobic and isolated. The book is exceptional. This is incredibly well done. I would give the movie 5. I'd give the book 4.5. Just because as a novel, I do want to get caught into the flow of the story through characters, more so than just concept. This is more so concept, but at the same time, the story in the movie does that. But a lot is explained here. It's, if you love the movie and have never read the book, you really have to. Like, I 100% recommend that you do. And then I think that every repeated viewing of that movie, you'll pick up even more, especially after you had the added addition of some of the information that Arthur C. Clarke shows there. So, I've read a few books since, and we'll be talking about those in the weeks to come. But very shortly in my personal life, I will finally be reading the sequel, 2010 Odyssey 2. So I love this book. I think it's amazing. The reread was great. It's just shy of 300 pages. Very quick to get into. It pops. It moves. It's very matter-of-fact textbook style at times. But for me, it still freaking works. And that has been. And I would give the book 4.5. So there you go. Out of 5 you digs. And that has been today's book report. So if you've never read it, read it. I think it's really good. Hey, we got Perry in the house. Station Perry. Fancy Pants says, so when they came out, it was originally called Edge of Tomorrow. Then they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat. Okay. Mike's got a list of 2014 movies. He says Grand Budapest Hotel, Interstellar, It Follows, Ex Machina, and Under the Skin. Fable says, 2001, the movie is a masterpiece. They were smart for not explaining in the movie. Works into the fear. Yeah, but it is there. You can pick up on it, but most of it does get explained through the novel. I would recommend it. And like I said, it's a 300-page novel. It is super short. Takes no time to read at all. And it keeps you entertained. It really, really does. Next week, we'll be talking about Stephen King's Carrie, which is his first novel published. And it was my first time reading it, so I'm excited. Next week, we'll be unpacking Carrie. I hope to have rewatched the movie by then, because I'd like to, as I complete these Stephen King novels, watch the adaptations again. So we'll see. It's something I should have done with the Michael Crichton's Terminal Man, which I've never seen the movie The Terminal Man, but anyway. All right, time for Show and Tell. I will let you know that once again, we are inviting you to join us for Show and Tell. We didn't have anybody participate this week, but if you want to have something of your collection is shown here on Show and Tell. Send me pictures. Send me pictures on our socials. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. But if I'm not following you, it's hard sometimes for me to see those messages. So you can always send stuff to popculturephilosophers@gmail.com. But I would love to see pictures of your collection, comics, toys, movies, whatever. And I would love to show it off here on the channel and talk about it. All right, but for Show and Tell, I showed some random comics I picked up. I got a Super Pro number 8. All I have is like Super Pro 1 and 2. I didn't know it went even all the way up through number 8, so that was pretty cool. So I got a number 8. I guess I got to put the whole run together, but that's got Captain America in it. What the number 22? This was one of my favorite comics when I was a kid, so I've been trying to slowly collect these up as I find them. I picked up this Detective Comics annual number 7. It's from the year where all the annuals were Elseworlds tales, and this is like a pirate Batman story. But I picked it up because the artwork in this book looks fucking amazing. I was flipping through it. I was like, that looks really freaking good. So I had to pick it up, and maybe we'll unpack it here for DC in the 90s or something. But look at that. That artwork is amazing. That's really cool stuff. So I picked that up. I picked these up because I've never had them, never read them, and they came through, and I took advantage of it. But I got the Nom number 1. This is the Michael Golden stuff. So I got Nom number 2. I am missing number 3. So I do need a number 3, but I got a number 4, a number 5, a number 6, a number 7, a number 8, a number 9, and a number 10. So I got the first 10 issues of the Nom, but I am missing number 3. And Michael Golden did the artwork, but in the first issue, he did the coloring, and I was flipping through it, and I think the coloring in this book is exceptional. Exceptionally well colored. So many cool colors used. Look at that. So I'm excited to dive into these, do a Marvel in the 80s bit or something, right? And y'all know I've been getting into Benjamin Marrow's work, American Blood, Night Business, Jesus Freak. This one's out of print. This was a little bit more difficult to find, but I found it for a really cheap price on Amazon, believe it or not. Terror Assaulter Amwat, which stands for One Man, War on Terror. This is a ridiculous book that I love. It's by Benjamin Marrow. It's got this really great sense of color about it, where everything is like red, white, blue, and yellow. It's incredibly violent. It is what you would consider an outlaw comic. Cartoonist Kayfabe did a video on it. It is it's got sexual shit in it. It's got uber violence in it. It is ridiculous, this book. It is so stupid and so awesome. I fucking loved it. It is very graphic in its sexual content and in its violence. But the way the story is told, it is ridiculous. It is awesome. I loved that book. If you like weird, wild stuff, check that out. And man, I got this shit on Kickstarter a while ago, and it just came in. I almost forgot about it. But this is Cosmic Detective by Jeff Lemire, Matt Kent, and David Rubin. I haven't read it yet, but it is a beautiful package. It's got that gold trim. I don't know if you can really make it out there, but it's gold shiny on the edge of those pages. But yeah, it's written by Jeff Lemire and Matt Kent, but it looks freaking awesome. Brian has read it already. Oh my God, it smells so good. This is one of the best smelling comics I've seen in a while. But Brian said it was good. I haven't read it yet. But when I do read it, I'll give you a report and let you know. But like, honestly, this is one of those ones like I got on Kickstarter. Man, I funded this. This was funded like 2 years ago, probably. Great cover. Look at that. But yeah, really excited to dive into that. And then our good old buddy Jay Strick has been getting into sports cards, and he hooked me up with this. He gave me this Dak Prescott card. It looks like it's a Panini card. You know, I don't follow sports cards at all. He's diving into it, and he saw that he got a Dak Prescott, and he knew I was a big Cowboys fan, and I love me some Dak Prescott, so he hooked me up with that. Super cool. And for the final touch, I finally got a toy that I've been looking for a long time. Finally got it complete. Here it is, y'all. I got an original Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the weapons, the 2 bats, and the golf club. Shout out to Mike the Voice Matthews. He's the best. He's my toy guy. He hooks me up. And we were looking for this piece, and he was able to hook it all up. And Mike had to piece this together for me. So that's how dedicated Mike is. He will literally piece together something that he knows I'm looking for, make sure he can find all the pieces. In fact, right now, he's working on the rest of the pieces of the Muckman that I need, so fuck yeah. Super cool. Should read the novel The Howling. I really should. I want to read Space Vampires now after talking about Life Force. Ouroboros says, I saw Omwat on Kayfabe. Haha, that book looked awesome. It is awesome. Taki says, maybe sometime next year I'll be able to read Nom. Far in the backlog, but if I see that Nom Punisher issue, going to have to pick it up. Well, you can find those in a trade paperback, too. The Punisher and the Nom, you can get those together. Yeah, I love that Casey Jones, man. Yeah, Mike's the shit, man. Mike's the shit. All right, and that's the show. But before we wrap up, we can't do it without getting into the Final 5. All right, going through the Blu-ray collection, here we go. When a Stranger Calls. This is a great underappreciated horror film from the 70s, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's the 80s. 1979. This is from Mill Creek. My Happy Birthday to Me is like this, so it's a cool enough Blu-ray. Bare bones, but it's a Blu-ray. But I love these slips they do because the slips are designed to look like an old VHS. So My Happy Birthday to Me is like that, and I really, really like that. This is Wings of Desire. It's a Criterion movie. I haven't even opened this yet. I've never seen this movie. My buddy Blake gave me this, I think, for Christmas or my birthday. I think it was Christmas of last year. So this reminds me that I need to watch this movie. So maybe I need to make it a bit to do. That's the only way I'm going to watch it soon. Then we got The Witch. I bought this like a year or two ago because it was like $5. I have not seen this movie, but I bought it because it was $5 and I've heard good things about it. And we're covering this on Dylan's Horror Show for Horror Fest. Then we got The Wizard of Oz. There's my special edition 3-disc set. I absolutely love this movie. I have not watched it in years. This used to be one of those ones, along with like Sound of Music and 10 Commandments, that I watched over and over again whenever it would air on TV. So it holds a special tender place in my heart. And then Wonder Woman. I do have the first movie. I like it. It's decent enough. It's cool. But you know what? I actually don't think I've seen it since the theater. So maybe it is time for a revisit on Wonder Woman coming up soon. Who knows? Anyway, and that was your Final 5. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that next week, Rockin Robbie Live will be airing 2 hours earlier. We're going live at 5 p.m. Central Time because the Cowboys are playing. Opening day. Hope everybody has a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. If you're off tomorrow, enjoy it. If you're not off, I'm sorry. Neither am I. And if you're out and about and you're off, take it easy on the people that have to work on Labor Day, y'all. Nobody likes to work on holidays that half the population get off and the other half don't. But it is what it is, and the comic shop waits for no man. So I will be there tomorrow with bells on. But join us tomorrow night, because we're just getting started for Horror Fest, man. Scream, the entire franchise, reviewed tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night for Horror Fest 2022. That's at 8 p.m. Central Time. Also at 8 p.m. Central Time on Thursday night, join us for She-Hulk Episode 4, episode review and discussion. And then Dylan's Horror Show continues the joy of Horror Fest on Saturday evening with American Mary. Y'all, it's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been... goddamn, it's been real fun. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a great one. I'm dipping out. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much. Station. Pop, pop. Boom!
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
You know, so we are like totally in the Horror Fest season, the most wonderful time of the year. And so for every week here on the after show on Rockin Robbie Live, I'm going to open up a horror-centric figure. Some of these I've been waiting to open up for these occasions. So tonight we're about to open up this NECA the Mummy. Beautiful box. All the NECA figures are beautiful. Well sculpted, great boxes. I'm excited to open this up. They are releasing the sarcophagus. I do have that on the way as well. But we're going to open this up. I've got the Frankenstein monster. I've got the Wolfman. I'm not getting the black and white ones. That would be too pricey to get all of them. So I just like I want to get the colorized ones so they can stand right up there with Leatherface and Jason and all that jam. Jam? Damn it, I did it again. All that jam? All right, so let's open this bad boy up. I'm really pumped for this. I love the Boris Karloff Mummy movie. I did Mummy Monday, 2 years ago for Horror Fest. And I did a commentary for all those Mummy movies from Universal. So there it is right there. Different heads. Different hands. It's got the sarcophagus. It's got the little... So it's got, I don't know what you call it, but the crate that the Book of the Dead comes in. But is there no Book of the Dead? I think that might come with the sarcophagus set. Let's get these twisty ties cut and now pull this out. Take a look at it. I fucking love this movie. They got to do a version of him, though, as like the sorcerer Imhotep. Because he's only the mummy in the first very bit of the movie. And when I was a kid, that did disappoint me. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. That's one of my favorite Universal monster movies. I know I say that a lot. Gotta cut this. I know I say that a lot, but Karl Freund was the director of this film. He was the cinematographer on, was it Dracula? Todd Browning's Dracula? Maybe. I love The Mummy. And if you ever feel like watching The Mummy and you want to watch it with me, watch one of those Mummy. Just type in like Mummy movie commentary, pop culture philosophers. You'll find it. All right. So posing is going to be everything with this. And I think the sarcophagus is going to add a lot of effect to it. Because overall, I mean, it is just a drab, bland figure. But the sculpting on it is insane. Man, that's really good. Oh, he's got the ring on him. Look at that. Anyway, trust me, it's awesome. All right, so I'll play around with posing that. I'll get my Universal monsters all together and shit, but that's awesome. That's super cool. I'm already decorating for Halloween. Hell yeah, brother. King Tut buried with the donkey. If we could all be that lucky. You know, if we could just all be that lucky.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
Oh, no, way you got it, Joe. I'm a motherfucking pro in the know. Whoa, let me tell you what I'm thinking when I'm feeling it. Everybody knows you know I be killing it. Talking about comic books, movies, all that shit in between. Let me tell you how I dream. I dream and I mean, and I tell you with the cream. Mix the money with the honeys and you know we feeling clean. Sleep, never fucking me. We're going to the Greek, don't even want to cheat. I don't even know what that means, motherfucker. Gotta work it while you twerk it. Shoot, what you gotta say?
So what? You're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad. I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack.
When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. I'm a more like a Hulk, and you know I don't sulk. Everybody get the bulk, but I got it all. Let me tell you, everybody, I gotta smoke, but I don't smoke. When I don't, everybody, don't when I feel like this, I'm immortal. What's up, everybody? Austin, yes. Austin, the thing is, I didn't want to send you an invoice for a mystery box yet because I am challenged by you, my friend. Now, when I talk about you send in original art, okay? What I'm talking about is like what I'm usually talking about is something like this, right? But you're like challenging me to do. So I've been working on a Pennywise. If you look at my Instagram feed, if you go back a couple weeks, I'm working out Pennywise. And when I get that done, I will let you know, Austin, and then it's on your way. But you're challenging me, and like, I don't want to just send you, since you want to hang it up in your living room, you said, I don't want to just send you this. So, but I've been working on Pennywise. So I'm going to do a quick Pennywise real quick with where I'm working at. And I'm Tim Curry. Pennywise is kind of my thing. So very quickly, it's going to be something like, and I'm not a professional artist, anybody. I don't, nor do I think I am. Oh, he's too fat in the face. Didn't leave enough room for all the hair and shit. This is terrible. But it's gonna be something more like this, but like fleshed out. This looks terrible. What the fuck did I do? Anyway, I'm glad y'all got to see that. But Austin, yes. Bam. There you go. Even if you don't have IG, you can just go to like Instagram, Pop Culture Philosophers, like on your internet, and you can go to our page and you can look at you can find something there, I'm sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So but no, man, yeah, you're not. No, I didn't lose you in the email, Austin. I got you 100%. I want to do something worthy of you, right? So there you go. Frame, yeah. Who wants the 60-second the fucking Pennywise? That was terrible. Anyway, what else do I want to say? I'm about to go watch House of the Dragon. I'm watching 3 shows going onward right now: Rings of Power, She-Hulk, and House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon takes the fucking cake. The shit is awesome. So, oh, y'all layman framing me? Robbie said challenge accepted. Yeah, but I want to do, I don't want you to just hang up a Sharpie image on your wall. I don't know. You really challenged me. I was like, man, yeah, I feel like I'm being commissioned for artwork. And I'm like, so I'm working it out. Austin says Matt Smith as the villain is the shit. Yeah, I'm really pumped. In fact, I'm about to go watch that now. So, yeah. What else was I going to say? I don't have anything to taste test tonight, but I did try the banana cream pie Pop-Tarts because I was at John's place. I was at John's place, Hammer Time Holshoe. We went and saw Jack White. Jack White was in our town, so we hung out at his place for a while. Then we went there, saw Jack White, ate some food, and hung out. And it was great. It was a great hangout. Me and John haven't hung out, just me and him, in a while. Well, we saw Scandal, I guess. But anyway, So it was a good time, but he gave me a couple packs of the banana cream pie Pop-Tarts because he didn't like them. And I've had them out of the box and I've had them heated up. I haven't had it frozen yet. However, it's okay. Like, it gives you that banana cream pie flavor, but it doesn't quite nail it like Pop-Tart's other stuff. Like, it's not like Pop-Tart Frosted Grape. Frosted Grape is amazing. So I would give it like 3.5, you digs? But it was decent. So yeah. Oh, and Jack White was awesome. It was really fucking cool. It was a good show. So, yeah. Hopefully next week I'll have a food review or something. I don't want to disappoint Taki and all. All right, we are dipping out. I got to go watch House of the Dragon. Station, pop, pop, boom. All up in the room. Keep on rocking. Keep on reading. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't watched my 10 Simple Rules for Enjoying Comics, please do. I want this video to have a second wave, right? So I need people to share this video. If it impacted you, if you liked it, share it. I want this video to get a second wave. I want it to get a second pop, pop, boom. So if anybody here could help me out, share that. Also, check out the PCP Army Horror Fest poll. That's about to be live right now in the PCP Army on Facebook. Station.